Welcome to the Holy Land Dispatch podcast.
One of the ways the left worldwide dominated public debate was pushing the individual into a corner via shaming. If you had an issue with the concept of transgenderism, you'd be asked how could you be so intolerant of the other? You'd be called transphobic or any number of slurs. If you objected to illegal immigration into the US, you'd be asked why you are so racist, branded as far-right, and a white supremacist. Many people chose to either withdraw from debate or were scared into submission, and Biden or Harris America was what happened. Keir Starmer's England is what's still happening. And yes, Israeli public domain is what still happens.
Trump brings back normal.
What the Trump campaign did, and what his administration is still doing, is to be envied, imitated, and adopted by any sane country, and especially the right in those countries. The Trump camp took the lead on every major issue by siding with truth, facts, realism, and far-sighted views. That put the Democrats in a defensive position, forcing them to adopt the most ridiculous stances in order to differentiate themselves from Republicans. The result is the decline of Democrats' approval rates, and more importantly, permission for the normative American to return to normality. Normality in the sense that they can speak their minds with more confidence, normality in the way they lead their everyday life, and most of all, normality in the way they educate their children.
Israel is not normal yet.
Now, let's bring this home to Israel and see what happened, what's happening now, and how the right should change it. In pre-war 2023, the streets were conquered by a well-oiled and financed campaign against the reform in the judiciary. If you dared to side with the government in favor of changing some of the obvious flaws in our system, you'd be attacked, sometimes physically, and called a fascist, blamed for supporting a dictator. One of the questions thrown at you would be, do you want to end up like Hungary or Poland? If you say that you believe we should be fighting Hamas with a lot more aggression, completely taking over the Gaza Strip, and clearing it from this barbaric terrorist organization, best case, you'd be immediately attacked for not caring about the hostages. A less best case would see you named war criminal or again fascist. If you believe that Israel should maintain its Jewish identity and strengthen it through education and minimal observance on a national level, you'd be called an oppressor, a racist, and of course, their favorite, fascist. If you claim that Netanyahu should benefit from the right to be held innocent until proven guilty, just like any one of us would want for himself, you'd be called all of the above, dubbed a supporter of the corrupt or the criminal Bibi. The appropriate nickname you'd earn, and believe me, I did, is baboon.
Make Israel normal again.
This is still an issue today. The media is mostly left-leaning. The people who are controlled by the Netanyahu derangement syndrome are the ones moved to action. And the right? The right in Israel, for the most part, is extremely passive. The main reasons are that Netanyahu is the sitting PM, and his supporters are a bit lulled into a dangerous sense of security, as well as the conservative tendency to be caretakers or gracious. They rarely demonstrate, and they're the most apologetic people across the political spectrum.
Be like Trump.
It's time the Israeli right starts doing the right thing, which is going on the offense. Netanyahu and his closer circle already started, albeit a little apologetically. Old habits die hard. It's time for us, civilians on the right, to start taking the initiative. That means losing the need to apologize for loving the country. That means refusing to accept false narratives. Examples: we reject the premise behind the accusation of being fascist for supporting the reform in the judiciary. There is no supporting evidence whatsoever that Hungary became any less democratic under Orban. In fact, it became likely the most sane country in all of Europe. We reject the premise behind the accusation of being unempathetic to the hostages. Without serious military pressure, there's no chance of freeing them. We know that because Gilad Shalit was held for 5 whole years, without military pressure, and because any recent deal came at the heels of an IDF offensive. We know this. And because we have empathy for the hostages, we support escalation of military pressure on our enemy. We also have empathy for families of fallen soldiers who sacrificed everything in order to try and release hostages. We also have empathy for the rest of the population of Israel, which will be put under unreasonable risk in the future if we succumb to the demands of those who butchered our people. We reject the premise of multiculturalism in Israel. Israel is the one Jewish state, and we've seen, at least our grandparents did, what happens when one doesn't exist. We reject the premise of Israel being a theocracy, just because government offices are closed for Shabbat. The link between Israel and Judaism is not optional, it's the essence of our existence. We reject the premise of Netanyahu being convicted before the court convicts him. First and foremost, because if we can't give the Prime Minister the right to be innocent until proven guilty, how can we claim that right for ourselves? Secondly, anyone who bothered to really follow his trial and investigations knows the depths of corruption involved and should be outraged that it's allowed to happen. Again, if it's allowed to happen to a sitting Prime Minister, why would it not be allowed to be done to any of us? It is time to stop apologizing for being on the side of truth and fact. It's time to put the left on the defensive, just like Trump did in the US, and expose the left's delusional and radical views on a variety of topics. It's time to claim our rightful place on the stage, recommit to what positioned us as the majority, and ensure there's no erosion caused by false prophets like the crook, Naftali Bennett, or the insane, hateful Yair Golan. We're going through rough times, that is true. No one likes war. No one likes the pressure we're under, especially with it being completely unfair. But life is not fair. Life is not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to serve as our chance to become better. And becoming better means developing love for truth and striving upwards. Things that apparently mean very little to the extreme left. So it's up to us to push our society in the right direction. Excuse the pun. And like Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world.
Thank you for your time. If you enjoy the Holy Land Dispatch, please consider subscribing for free on https://gilshler.substack.com. You can find me also on YouTube at Gilshalev. Want to buy me a coffee? You can do that too at https://ko-fi.com/Gilshalevites. Thanks again. See you on the next episode.